Hello there, my dear friends from across the nation and around the globe. This is Dr. Evelyn Blake, and today I want to share some heartfelt thoughts with you about a topic that's both delicate and often misunderstood. This conversation might bring a smile to your face, or maybe even cause a bit of nervous laughter. It might also raise some questions you've always kept to yourself, and that's precisely why we need to explore it together. Because in my many years of working with couples, I've learned one thing for sure: what we avoid discussing can turn into shame, what we shame we avoid exploring, and what we avoid exploring eventually creates distance. So today, I want to help us bridge that gap. But before we dive in, I'm curious to know, where are you watching from today? Are you perhaps relaxing on your porch in Georgia, gently swaying in a rocking chair as the sun sets? Maybe you're unwinding in your living room in London, with your loved one nearby and a comforting cup of tea? Or perhaps you're in a completely unexpected place, watching with quiet curiosity, maybe even a little worried someone might walk in. Wherever you may be, please share your city or country in the comments below. This community is filled with thoughtful, respectful, and courageous individuals like yourselves. Let's show how far this message is reaching. And please be sure to take a look at the description below. I've included some resources to support men's vitality, stamina, and emotional closeness after 50. These aren't just empty promises. They're scientifically supported tools that can help your body respond the way your heart desires. Now, let's begin. Picture this: it's late in the evening. The house is peaceful. The chores are done. The television is off, and the day's worries are starting to fade away. You and your partner find yourselves drawn closer, not because of some elaborate fantasy or forced performance, but simply because being near each other feels good. Because your touch has evolved over the years, from a need to a comfort, from a routine to a cherished ritual. You're sharing a gentle kiss. Your hands begin to explore. Her breathing begins to change. And then, you move lower. It's warm, it's soft, it's tender. And then, just as you sense her starting to truly let go, you taste her. That flavor, her unique, vibrant essence, fills your mouth, your senses, and maybe even your thoughts. And the question arises, is it okay to swallow this? Should I? Could I? Is this normal? My dear friends, if you've ever had this question and hesitated to ask, you're certainly not alone. I hear it every week. Sometimes whispered, sometimes disguised as a joke, sometimes asked with embarrassment, but always with curiosity. So today, let's address that question fully, not just with scientific facts, but with honesty, compassion, and emotional understanding. Because this isn't just about the fluid itself. It's about trust. It's about being present. It's about rewriting old scripts about intimacy and replacing them with something new, something sacred. Let's begin with the fundamentals. What exactly are vaginal fluids, and where do they come from? When a woman becomes aroused, her body naturally increases blood flow to the vaginal and vulvar region. This increased blood flow stimulates several glands that produce fluid, including the Bartholin's glands, the Skene's glands, sometimes called the female prostate, and secretions from the vaginal walls themselves. This combination of fluids is your partner's natural lubrication. It signals arousal. It softens the tissues. It allows for comfort, movement, pleasure, and safety. It's not urine. It's not waste. It's not a problem. It's simply biology. It's beauty. It's the body saying, yes, I feel safe enough to open up. And when you engage in oral intimacy, you're in direct contact with this beautiful, living signal of her arousal. So now, the question arises, is it safe to swallow? And the quick answer, if both of you are healthy, in a committed relationship, and free of STIs, is yes. But let's not stop there. Let's delve deeper. Now, let's explore precisely what vaginal fluid contains and why so many people feel confused or even a bit apprehensive about what they're tasting. Vaginal fluid isn't just one single substance. It's a complex blend of secretions, and it can vary depending on your partner's level of arousal, hydration, hormonal cycle, diet, and stress levels. But here's what it typically includes: water, the primary component, which keeps the tissue hydrated and soft. Electrolytes, such as sodium and potassium, just like in your saliva. Proteins and enzymes, natural byproducts of vaginal tissue metabolism. Glucose is, yes, sugar, although in very small amounts. A mix of beneficial bacteria, like lactobacillus, which helps maintain a healthy pH balance. Small traces of cellular waste, like urea or ammonia, but not in harmful quantities. And sometimes, mucus from the cervix, especially during ovulation or heightened arousal. Now, if that list sounds a bit technical, here's what it really means. Your partner's fluid is a living expression of her health, her cycle, her readiness, and her trust in you. It's not something to fear. It's something to respect, understand, and respond to with care. But let's address the hesitation that many men over 50 experience. The part they often don't know how to express openly. They might wonder, what if it tastes unpleasant? What if I gag or react negatively? What if it spoils the moment? What if it makes me feel less masculine? These thoughts don't make you weak, they make you human. But let me say this clearly, pleasure isn't always neat and tidy. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's raw, sometimes it challenges your notions of what's normal. And that's perfectly okay. True intimacy isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about being present within it with love and curiosity. When you stay connected, even when something feels unfamiliar. When you choose to breathe through the moment instead of pulling away. When you look at her face and see how vulnerable and open she is. That's when intimacy becomes something sacred. That's when she feels seen. That's when your masculinity isn't diminished, it's deepened. Now, let's talk about taste. Yes, we're going there. Because if you're going to swallow something, you deserve to understand what you're tasting and why it changes. The taste of vaginal fluid can vary greatly depending on her hydration level. More water, more freshness. Her diet, garlic, onions, pineapple, coffee, and red meat can all influence the flavor. Her stress levels, cortisol can subtly shift body chemistry. Her hormonal phase, during ovulation, the taste is often sweeter or wetter. Sexual activity, semen, toys, lube, or infections can change her internal environment. Some women taste sweet, others taste musky, some have a metallic note during menstruation. Some feel earthy or tangy. None of these are wrong. None of these are bad. They are all natural expressions of a real, living body. And when you learn to accept her variety without judgment, you send a message stronger than any words. I'm here. I accept you. I'm not afraid of your truth. And let me tell you, gentlemen, that is the moment she relaxes. That is the moment she trusts you completely. And that is the moment she may let go in ways neither of you have ever experienced. But of course, there's another aspect we need to discuss, health and safety. Because even though vaginal fluid is generally safe, there are some important precautions to be aware of. If either partner is sexually active with others or hasn't been tested recently, vaginal fluids can transmit infections like herpes, HSV-1 or HSV-2, HPV, human papillomavirus, chlamydia, syphilis, and, in rare cases, HIV. Now, before you panic, remember that most of these infections are treatable. Some are even common and may never cause symptoms. But here's the key, don't assume. Ask, test, talk. If you've been with your partner for many years and you're both healthy, this is often a non-issue. But if you're entering a new relationship or re-entering intimacy after divorce, illness, or loss, you must treat these conversations as part of your mature responsibility. And I know what some of you are thinking, but Dr. Evelyn, it's so awkward to bring up testing. Let me be clear, awkwardness never killed anyone. Silence has. Speak up. Say something like, I really care about you. Before we go further, would you feel comfortable getting tested together? Or, I want to make sure we're both healthy and safe. Let's do this right. She may be surprised at first, but deep down she'll respect your integrity. Because when you take the lead in health, you're showing not only desire, you're showing protection. And that's one of the most attractive traits in a mature, conscious man. Now, let's go deeper, not into science, but into emotion. Because swallowing your partner's fluid isn't just a physical act. It's not just about taste or safety or chemistry. It's about what happens in the emotional and psychological space between you. When a woman sees her partner embrace her arousal without hesitation, when she sees his acceptance of her fluid, her scent, her vulnerability, something profound happens. She lets go. She stops holding tension in her belly. She softens in her heart, and she begins to experience intimacy not as something she performs, but something she lives. Most women aren't craving a man who knows every trick in the book. They're craving a man who will stay present through the whole experience, from the heat to the mess to the quiet afterglow. So when you receive her fluids, whether in small drops or sudden gushes, and you meet them with calm, loving attention, you're not just being brave, you're being healing. You're telling her, without a single word, there is nothing in you that needs to be hidden from me. And that, my friend, is what makes a woman feel emotionally safe. And emotional safety, that is what unlocks the kind of pleasure, expression, and release that no pill, no program, and no porn clip can ever offer. But let's talk about you now. What do you gain by embracing your partner's release? What changes in your body, your brain, and your sense of self when you approach oral intimacy not with fear, but with curiosity? Let's start with what the research says. Studies show that emotionally connected intimacy, the kind where both partners feel safe, seen, and accepted, has profound effects on men's health. Here's what happens when you engage in open, unashamed oral intimacy. Your oxytocin levels increase. This is the hormone responsible for bonding, calmness, and emotional resilience. Your cortisol, stress hormone levels, drop, reducing anxiety and inflammation. Your testosterone levels stabilize, especially when intimacy is frequent, connected, and emotionally rewarding. Your blood vessels relax, especially important for maintaining erectile strength. Your nervous system shifts into parasympathetic mode, known as rest and connect, the opposite of fight or flight. In other words, when you let go of shame and lean into presence, you literally rewire your body for better health, better erections, and better love. And you know what else? You become the kind of man who doesn't just have sex. You become the kind of man who creates experiences. Experiences that heal, experiences that bond, experiences that linger in your partner's memory for weeks, months, years. Let's bring this down to a moment you can picture. It's a quiet Sunday morning. You've just shared a deeply connected night with your partner. There's no shame, no cleanup jokes, no awkward silence. You're lying together, touching gently, sipping coffee, and smiling. She looks at you differently now, not because of what you did, but because of how you were. You stayed present. You didn't flinch. You accepted her. Not just her body, but her release, her scent, her raw expression. That memory stays with her. That trust becomes the foundation of your next chapter, and your own sense of masculinity deepens, not because you controlled the moment, but because you allowed it. Now, let's talk about the practical side. If this is new for you, or if you're trying to rebuild connection after years of routine, here are 5 steps you can take to approach oral intimacy with more confidence, clarity, and connection. Step 1. Have a pre-intimacy talk. Yes, I said talk, not just touch, not just assumption. Say something like, I'd love to explore giving you more pleasure. Is that something you'd feel open to? Or, how do you feel about oral intimacy? What makes you feel most comfortable? This invites her in instead of assuming she's already on board. Step 2. Create the right conditions. Vaginal fluid is most pleasant when the environment is relaxed, clean, and warm. That means fresh sheets, dim lighting, a warm towel nearby, maybe a shared shower beforehand, or even a bath. Natural breath, no rush. The calmer the nervous system, the richer and more abundant the lubrication. A woman's body responds to the energy you bring. If you are slow, soft, and patient, her body will open. Step 3. Focus on her signals, not your performance. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't try to mimic something you saw online. Instead, pay attention to her breathing, her hip movements, her size, her stillness, her words, or her silence. And when you feel her begin to release, either in a flow or in small pulses, stay right there. Don't pull away. Don't panic. Don't try to fix it. Just stay. Hold. Breathe. Be present. Step 4. Respond with love, not judgment. If her fluid surprises you, and it might, choose your next words carefully. Say, that was beautiful. I love how your body responds to pleasure. You're safe with me. What you say in the seconds after a woman releases, whether through lubrication, ejaculation, or orgasm, is just as important as what you did before it. This is where you build emotional memory. Step 5. Reintegrate with affection. When it's over, don't roll away. Don't grab your phone. Don't make it about cleanup. Instead, bring her water, hold her, thank her, ask, how did that feel for you? Share your own experience. This creates emotional afterglow. An emotional afterglow is where real intimacy lives. So now, let's bring everything together. If you've ever wondered, is it safe to swallow during oral sex? Will she judge me if I do? Will I feel less masculine if I embrace this fluid part of her? Is this really necessary? Here's the truth. It's not about necessity. It's about presence. It's about learning that intimacy after 50 isn't about how many positions you try. It's about how deeply you stay. It's about how you show up when things get real, when things get messy, when emotions rise, when fluids flow, when she trembles and trusts you with her full self. That's the moment where real sexual confidence is born, not in performance, but in acceptance. Now, let me speak directly to the man who's still feeling unsure. Maybe you're curious, but cautious. Maybe you've never done this before. Maybe the thought still makes you nervous or even a little squeamish. That's okay. Let me remind you that there is no gold medal for knowing everything. There is only growth. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to learn at your own pace. You are allowed to ask questions, make mistakes, feel awkward. But the more important question is, are you willing to be present even when it's new? Are you willing to receive her fully, not just physically, but emotionally? That's what will change your relationship. That's what will make her open up more. And that's what will turn intimacy into a kind of healing neither of you ever expected. Let me give you a closing scene to imagine. You're with your partner. The room is quiet. There's candlelight. She's relaxed. Her shoulders are down. Her guard is gone. You kiss. You explore. You give. And then you feel her let go. Fluid, taste, warmth, surrender. And you choose presence over panic, curiosity over fear, tenderness over ego. You don't rush to wipe it away. You don't grimace or joke. You hold her. You smile. You whisper, "You're safe with me." That moment, that's not just sex. That's legacy. That's emotional memory she'll carry for years. And that's the kind of man you're becoming. Not a performer, but a partner. So now, if you found value in this video, I want you to do 3 things. 1. Drop a comment below. Tell me what stood out for you. What questions do you still have about oral intimacy, swallowing, fluids, or emotional connection? No shame here, just honesty. This is your space. 2. Like and share. Send this video to a friend, a brother, someone re-entering love after divorce or widowhood. You never know who needs to hear this message. 3. Subscribe. This channel is for mature men and couples who know that love doesn't end at 50, 60, or 70. It transforms. We're going to keep talking about erections, hormones, trust, pleasure, stamina, and everything in between. You don't want to miss what's coming next. And don't forget, check the video description. I've linked some trusted wellness products that support male confidence, circulation, and intimacy after 50. These tools work beautifully alongside emotional growth. Until next time, I'm Dr. Evelyn Blake. Stay curious, stay kind, and remember, your partner's pleasure is not a mystery to solve, it's a relationship to honor. When you learn to receive her fully, including her fluids, you're not just deepening sex, you're deepening trust. And trust is what makes love last. I'll see you soon.